I was halfway through a lukewarm protein bar in the cargo bay of my half-broken star freighter when the incoming transmission flashed crimson across my comms console. Normally, that meant pirates or corporate debt collectors, neither of which were exactly friendly. But this one came with a glyph I hadn't seen before, a jagged claw mark overlaying a red sun. It was the battle sigil of the Ursari Dominion. I nearly choked on my snack. You see, the Ursari were a warrior race from the Outer Ring systems, known for their brutal strength, honor duels, and a matriarchal hierarchy of beast-women commanders who could crush titanium with their bare hands. Why in the cosmos would they be contacting me? Rix Marin, former Navy pilot turned scavenger and occasional smuggler. The screen flickered, and there she was. General Kalare Vex. Even through the slightly degraded holosignal, she looked fierce. Standing over 7 feet tall, covered in mottled fur and armored in ornate battleplate, Kalare radiated menace and majesty. Her eyes were a burning gold, sharp and focused. Her voice, when it came, was like gravel ground into silk. Rix Marin, you stole from my sector. Prepare to duel. Blink. I did what? She growled lowly. An artifact. Ancient. Valuable. Traced to your ship. The strange obsidian idol I'd pulled from the wreck of a derelict station near the Ursa Fringe. I'd meant to fence it in a black market bazaar, but I hadn't yet found a buyer who wasn't creeped out by the thing. Apparently, I'd unknowingly pocketed a sacred relic of an interstellar death bear cult. Just my luck. Listen, I said, raising my hands. It was just salvage. I didn't know. Ignorance is not innocence, she snapped. Honor demands combat. Single duel. You and me. If you win, you keep the relic. If I win, it returns. And you serve as my battle companion for 1 lunar cycle. My brain did a backflip. Battle companion. That could mean anything from glorified servant to something more complicated. When? I asked, trying not to squeak. Now. I'm outside. Sure enough, the proximity sensors lit up. A sleek Ursari assault frigate was hovering a few hundred meters off my port side, cloaked in shadow and bristling with weaponry. I sighed, pulled on my exosuit, and headed for the external deck. The duel took place on an abandoned asteroid mining platform, one with enough gravity to make movement interesting. Kalare arrived in ceremonial armor, twin vibroaxes slung across her back. I had a stun blade and a whole lot of misplaced confidence. We circled each other. She was fast, too fast for someone her size. The first strike nearly took my head off, and I barely rolled away, the axe buzzing past with a scream of displaced air. I ducked, jabbed with my blade, and earned a snarl. You fight like a cornered weasel, she spat. Thanks, I panted. I practice. A few more minutes of parrying and scrambling, and I managed to disarm her, mostly by luck and a well-timed boot to her knee. She growled, slammed me to the ground, and raised a clawed hand. Yield! I gasped, coughing dust. I paused. Then, to my astonishment, she laughed. A booming, wild laugh that echoed off the metal walls. You surprise me, Rix Marin, she said, stepping back. You fought with heart. Does that mean I win? She tilted her head. No. You yield. I win. Fantastic, I muttered. But instead of seizing the relic and storming off, Kalare crouched beside me and extended a hand. I took it warily. She pulled me to my feet with ease. I will return the relic to the Hall of Trials, she said. But you interest me. I do. Her eyes gleamed. You have spirit. Fire. You made my blood sing. I want to know more of you. I rubbed the back of my neck. So, what does that mean? You will dine with me. My ship. Tonight. I blinked again. Wait, is this a date? She grinned, sharp teeth flashing. If it pleases you. I had no idea what I was getting into. Dinner aboard the Ursari frigate was unlike anything I'd experienced. The mess hall had been transformed into a ceremonial feast chamber, complete with torches, roaring chants, and enough roasted meat to feed a battalion. Kalara sat at the head of the table, her demeanor a strange mix of regal and amused. "Eat, Rix Marin," she commanded, tearing into a haunch of something vaguely reptilian. I picked at a smoked slice of meat that looked like it still wanted to bite me back. "This is a lot." She leaned forward. "On Uarsa Prime, we celebrate worthy foes with honor feasts. It is tradition." "What happens after the feast?" Her grin widened. "Combat exercises. And possibly mating." I nearly choked again. "Kidding," she added after a beat, her tone dry. "Mostly." Over the course of the evening we talked about war, about flying, about the strange currents of fate that had led us both to that forgotten wreck. She was blunt, fierce, but intelligent. Thoughtful, in her own ruthless way. "Why do you live alone, scavenger?" she asked at one point. "Less mess," I replied. "Less heartbreak." She considered that. "You fear connection. You afraid of it too." She shook her head. "I fear losing it. But better to burn brightly than live cold." For the next month, I traveled with her ship, the Talon of Dusk, as her battle companion. I was given quarters, armor, and training sessions that left me bruised but exhilarated. I learned the Ursari tongue, their customs, their fighting styles. And somewhere along the way, Kalara and I stopped circling each other like wary predators and started something else, something real. She took me to Uarsa Prime, a world of glaciers and burning auroras, where the sky danced in violet fire. We stood atop a mountain during a snowstorm, and she showed me the tombs of her ancestors. "One day I will be entombed here," she said. "But not before I leave my mark upon the stars." I took her hand. "You've already left a mark on me." She squeezed it, eyes softening. "But peace is a fragile thing." A rogue faction of Ursari separatists ambushed the Talon of Dusk near the Eridani Drift. They considered Kalara too lenient, too diplomatic. Traitorous. Their warship, twice our size, opened fire without warning. We fought back, but we were outgunned. Engines failing, Kalara ordered an emergency boarding maneuver. She and I led the assault team. It was chaos. Blaster fire, roaring Ursari, flashing blades. Kalara was a storm, cutting down rebels with terrifying grace. I watched her fall, rise again, bloodied but unbroken. When we finally reached the bridge and disabled their command systems, the cost was heavy. Half our crew lay dead. I dragged her back to the medbay, her side torn open. She gripped my wrist. "If I fall," she rasped, "take the Talon. Lead them." "You're not dying," I growled. "Not now. Not after everything." She smiled weakly. "My fierce scavenger." She survived. Barely. Weeks passed. Repairs were made. The crew rallied. The rebellion was crushed. And Kalara. She rose from her medical bed like a reborn war goddess. "Still my battle companion?" she asked one morning, surprising me with breakfast. Took the tray. "Only if you keep bringing me food." She laughed. "Then perhaps. It is time for a new title." "Oh!" She stepped close, claws brushing my cheek. "Mate." I stared at her. That was fast. Ursari do not waste time. I grinned. Then let's not waste any more. And that, dear viewer, is how I went from lonely space scavenger to consort of a Beastwoman Warlord.